5 seasons of pure adrenaline, and Taylor Sheridan has promised Yellowstone that they're going out with a bang. But could he have meant in a more literal sense? We know that Part 2 of Season 5 will serve as the finale of the Western saga featuring the Dutton family. However, we also know that Sheridan didn't want it to happen like this, not so soon at least. He had no other choice though when his leading man Kevin Costner walked out in the middle of filming Season 5. Kevin, who played the patriarch John Dutton on the show, said that he'd only come back if he was given more money and more creative liberties in Yellowstone. He was already the highest paid actor on set, racking in over $1 million per episode, and creative control was something Sheridan wasn't willing to negotiate on. So Kevin walked out and Taylor switched gears. With all that animosity though, fans are wondering if Taylor would take it out on his former leading man in the most brutal way possible. What if Yellowstone kills John Dutton? Long before Kevin walked out and the whole drama unfolded, fans had theorized that the show would end with Kevin's character dying. In hindsight, that would have been the most obvious way to end the Western. With John passing away, someone else would take over the Montana ranch, and that'd set the scene for yet another spin-off. Yep, Taylor loves his spin-offs. There are about 6 of them out already, and more coming soon. Anyway, it was the most obvious ending for the show. However, as the seasons progressed and the storylines changed, fans started coming up with more theories. Jamie, for example, went from being a contemporary of the Duttons to their sworn enemy. Maybe he has a bigger role in the finale than we originally gave him credit for. Taylor, however, announced that the ending of Yellowstone is something no one saw coming. This led fans to believe that killing Costner's character would be out of the question because, let's be honest, everyone saw it coming. Then, however, Reddit users put out an interesting theory. What if they don't kill John in the finale because they'd already killed him in episode 1? That's the first episode of Part 2, by the way, so episode 7 of Season 5 overall. But this theory resonated with a lot of fans. They started piecing it together, and the more they thought about it, the more likely it seemed. There are a few reasons why it makes sense. The biggest is Taylor's reluctance to work with Kevin for the finale. Kevin apologized and wanted to come back. In a twist no one saw coming, the Hollywood actor actually had his team reach out to Paramount to ask for his old job back. We have to dive a little deeper into the backstory for this one. In 2022, when Kevin announced he'd be leaving Yellowstone, he was embroiled in a messy divorce with his now ex-wife, Christine Baumgartner. Their divorce was highly publicized for several reasons. She wanted more than $1 million in child support, for their prenup to be annulled, and Kevin's team accused her of cheating on him. Missy wouldn't even begin to cover it, actually. Anyway, once that was said and done, Kevin threatened to sue Paramount for non-payment. The details of his case against the mega production house are fuzzy, but Kevin believed that he'd been stiffed out of the money he was promised when his team drafted up his contract for Yellowstone. That was back in 2022, and now the divorce has been settled, and apparently so has the legal matter between Kevin and Paramount. The Hollywood actor never went to court like he said, and they instead worked out a compromise. However, now Kevin's brought Paramount into the discussion again. He's had his team reach out to ask for the role of John Dutton back. Here's the thing. When Kevin walked out, there was some conversation on hiring a new lead actor for John Dutton. Matthew McConaughey's name came up quite a lot, but it was later revealed that the actor wouldn't be standing in for John Dutton. Instead, he'd be leading in another Yellowstone spin-off. Taylor eventually confirmed that no one would be replacing Kevin as John Dutton. For one, they were too far into the show, and a mega casting change like that would have upset fans. Another reason was the fact that whether Taylor liked it or not, John Dutton was made for Kevin Costner. It didn't make sense to replace him. However, when Kevin had his team reach out, Taylor told them they were good and that Kevin wasn't needed back. This seemed to confuse fans considering how big of a deal it was in the first place when Kevin walked out. The series creator later clarified that he'd already written the script for the finale and they didn't need Kevin anymore. This told fans 2 things. First, the finale had been completed, and after the delay because of the writer's strike, Yellowstone would finally be back in production. Second, that John Dutton wouldn't be a central figure in the finale. Allegedly, Kevin even offered to work for a lower salary if that would sway them. He wanted a way back on set to say goodbye to the character he'd worked on since 2018. According to Kevin, the fans shouldn't have to suffer for their disagreements. Which is exactly what fans said when they heard the news. They claimed that while Taylor had every right to be mad at Kevin's flip-flopping, he should have put their differences aside and worked toward the greater good, which of course was Yellowstone. Hearing all the complaints, Ian Bohen, who plays Ryan Bingham on the show, came up and said that he'd read the script for the finale. He assured fans that it was the best script he'd ever read and that it might just be the best finale in the history of finales. What would happen if John Dutton died? At this point, fans are sure that the end of John Dutton is nearer than we thought. Taylor is probably killing off Kevin's character in episode 1 to make up for the fact that he won't have any screen time as the otherwise leading character later on. That being said, fans have come up with a few new theories on what would happen if John Dutton died in the very first episode of the final saga. The most popular one so far has a lot to do with Casey Dutton. Many fans believe that Casey, John's youngest son, is most likely next in line to take over the Montana ranch. Throughout the series, Casey is portrayed as the character with the strongest connection to the land and the values that John holds dear. His military background, sense of duty, and protective nature make him a prime candidate. In this scenario, John's death might catalyze Casey to fully embrace his role on the ranch, stepping up to preserve his father's legacy. Casey might have the right stuff, but we've seen as Yellowstone's progressed that you need to be equal parts strong and manipulative to take charge of the largest ranch in the US. That sounds like something only one of the Dutton siblings could do. Beth, known for her sharp wit and fierce loyalty, Beth could become the new head of the Dutton Empire. She might not be a rancher, but her business acumen and ruthless approach to protecting the family's interests put her in a position to ensure the ranch's survival in an increasingly hostile environment. Driven by her love for her father and her desire to honor his memory, Beth might outmaneuver any threats to secure the ranch's future. But remember how we talked about this season possibly being Jamie's best so far? The adopted son with a complicated relationship with John is a wild card. Some fans believe Jamie might redeem himself and inherit the ranch, either through a legal maneuver or as a dying wish from John. Sounds unlikely, but it could happen. Yellowstone's tricked us before. As the next generation, Tate, Casey's youngest son, represents the future of the Dutton lineage. Some theories suggest that John's death could set the stage for a long-term vision where Tate, possibly guided by Casey and Monica, grows into the role of the ranch's protector. This scenario emphasizes a generational shift, with the series ending on a hopeful note for the ranch's continuity. Last but certainly not least, Rip, the loyal ranch foreman and Beth's love interest, is another potential successor. Given his deep connection to John and the ranch, fans theorize that Rip could be entrusted with the ranch's management, especially if Beth plays a significant role in this transition. Whatever happens, one thing's for sure: Yellowstone is going to have an everlasting legacy as one of the best westerns of all time. What do you think is happening in the finale? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more.